Good evening, everybody. We are live. It is day 18 of the Bible Hour. Welcome on in. Sound loud and clear. Thank you, Park End Church admin. I look like I haven't washed for a month. Thank you very much. It is full steam ahead into the book of Numbers. Good evening, Petit Bois. Little Woods. Day 18, Mug 18. The collection goes on. Hello, Chris Williams. Hello, Chris Henry. Please thank your husband for that helpful techie email. We have 2 minutes to go before we jump into Numbers chapter 6. Dog poo bags. Don't need those in my pocket. Hello, Diane. Welkom. Jesunim. Kara's here. Always forget the shout out for Kara. Hello, Kara. Sam, yeah, as always, faithfully attending. Hello, Kara. We have 1 minute to go before the show kicks off. I'll tell you what I've been doing today. Other than homeschooling and dog walking and working, I have been tracing my John T. Nice one, age 6, legend. Reading the Bible in 2 months straight at age 6. I have been tracing my family tree on ancestry.co.uk and I have got down to the 1500s for the Batstones. There's hope to go even further back on my mother's side though, because apparently she's a descendant from Edward Longshanks, which is the really nasty one in Braveheart, who threw his kid off a tower and stuff. But if enough people died in the UK, I'm pretty sure I would be king. And then along comes Mosaic law. No, it doesn't. Can't. Jesus said no. Not for us. back to the everlasting covenant, which is the covenant of Abraham. So the new covenant is actually the oldest covenant of all. So the old covenant's quite new, and then the new one is the old one, and the old one is the everlasting one, according to Hebrews. So we're back in the days of Abraham, faith in Jesus without the works of the law on top of it. But right now we are in the... My internet has been down. Hope it stays on now. I hope it stays on too. Right now we're in the heart of the Mosaic law. Hello, Phil Tamlin. Okay, welcome to day 18. Any preachers in the family tree? My great-granddad, Anglican, was the not rector, vicar, I'll say vicar of Bath Abbey, the nice big church with all the bath pools in and stuff. Other than that, I'm from a lot of non-Christians. Okay, and yeah, anyway, welcome to day 18. What do we learn about Jesus? What do we learn about church? The links are below. Welcome if you are new. People as far as Swansea are tuning in, as far as England, and as far as New Zealand, to hear the word of the Lord read. So please turn to Numbers chapter 6. And we're going to learn now about the Messiah's vow, the Nazarite vow. Look out for grapes. Grapes in the Old and New Testament, sign of new life, but which comes from judgment and being crushed. Genesis 49, Deuteronomy 32, Revelation 14. But from it comes great joy. Wine gladdeneth the heart. So look out for these people who take Nazarite vows to go through pain to get to joy. They got to be single-minded, just like Jesus. And famous Nazarite vowees, Samson, Samuel, Johnny the Bee. And Numbers 6 has to end with I think one of the greatest verses in the whole Bible. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Then the Lord said to Moses, give the following instructions to the people of Israel. If any of the people, either men or women, take the special vow of a Nazarite, setting themselves apart to the Lord in a special way, they must give up wine and other alcoholic drinks. They must not use vinegar made from wine or from other alcoholic drinks. They must not drink fresh grape juice, and they must not eat grapes or raisins. As long as they are bound by their Nazarite vow, they are not allowed to eat or drink anything that comes from a grapevine, not even the grape seeds or skins. And so this theme is coming in. They must never cut their hair throughout the time of their vow, for they are holy and set apart for the Lord. Until the time of their vow has been fulfilled, they must let their hair grow long. And they must not go near a dead body during the entire period of their vow to the Lord, even if the dead person is their own father, mother, brother, or sister. They must not defile themselves, for their hair on their head is the symbol of their separation to God. Total dedication, even among blood relatives. This requirement applies as long as they are set apart to the Lord. If someone falls dead beside them, the hair they have dedicated will be defiled. They must wait for 7 days and then shave their heads. Then they will be cleansed from their defilement. On the 8th day, they must bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to the priest at the entrance of the tabernacle. The priest will offer one of the birds for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. In this way, he will purify them from the guilt they incurred through contact with the dead body. Then they must reaffirm their commitment and let their hair begin to grow again. The days of their vow that were completed before the defilement no longer count. They must rededicate themselves to the Lord as a Nazirite for the full term of their vow, and each must bring a year-old male lamb for a guilt offering. This is the ritual law for Nazirites. At the conclusion of their time of separation as Nazirites, they must each go to the entrance of the tabernacle and offer their sacrifices to the Lord. A 1-year-old male lamb without defect for a burnt offering, and a 1-year-old female lamb without defect for a sin offering, a ram without defect for a peace offering, a basket of bread without yeast, cakes of choice flour mixed with olive oil, and wafers spread with olive oil, along with their prescribed grain offerings and liquid offerings. The priest will present these offerings before the Lord. First the sin offering, and then the burnt offering, then the ram for a peace offering, along with the basket of bread made without yeast. The priest must also present the prescribed grain offering and liquid offering to the Lord. Then the Nazirites will shave their heads at the entrance of the tabernacle. They will take the hair that has been dedicated and place it on the fire beneath the peace offering sacrifice. After the Nazirite's head has been shaved, the priest will take for each of them the boiled shoulder of the ram, and he will take from the basket a cake and a wafer made without yeast. He will put them all into the Nazirite's hands. Then the priest will lift them up as a special offering for the Lord. These are holy portions for the priest, along with the breast of the special offering and the thigh of the sacred offering that are lifted up before the Lord. After this ceremony, the Nazirites may drink wine. This is the ritual law of the Nazirites, who vow to bring these offerings to the Lord. They may also bring additional offerings if they can afford it, and they must be careful to do whatever they vowed when they set themselves apart as Nazirites. And here cometh one of the best Trinitarian verses in the whole of the Bible, where every person of the Godhead, the Trinity, is mentioned. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Tell Aaron and his sons to bless the people of Israel with this special blessing. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord smile on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord show you his favor and give you his peace." Whenever Aaron and his sons bless the people of Israel in my Trinitarian name, I myself will bless them. Numbers chapter 7. Check out the unity of the church and how everyone is involved in church life. And extra points for those who are thinking of Jesus talking about church shining in Matthew 5. Offerings of dedication. On the day Moses set up the tabernacle, he anointed it and set it apart as holy. He also anointed and set apart all of its furnishings and the altar with its utensils. Then the leaders of Israel, the tribal leaders who had registered the troops, came and brought their offerings. Together they brought 6 large wagons and 12 oxen. There was a wagon for every 2 leaders and an ox for each leader. They presented these to the Lord in front of the tabernacle. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Receive their gifts and use these oxen and wagons for transporting the tabernacle. Distribute them among the Levites according to the work they have to do. So Moses took the wagons and oxen and presented them to the Levites. He gave 2 wagons and 4 oxen to the Gershonite division for their work, and he gave 4 wagons and 8 oxen to the Merarite division for their work. All their work was done under the leadership of Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest. But he gave none of the wagons or oxen to the Kohathite division, since they were required to carry the sacred objects of the tabernacle on their shoulders. The leaders also presented dedication gifts for the altar at the time it was anointed. They each placed their gifts before the altar. The Lord said to Moses, "Let one leader bring his gift each day for the dedication of the altar." On the first day, Nahshon, son of Amminadab, leader of the tribe of Judah, presented his offering. His offering consisted of a silver platter weighing 3¼ pounds and a silver basin weighing 1¾ pounds, as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. We all know that by now. These were both filled with grain offerings of choice flour moistened with olive oil. He also brought a gold container weighing 4 ounces, which was filled with incense. He brought a young bull, a ram, and a 1-year-old male lamb for a burnt offering, and a male goat for a sin offering. For a peace offering, he brought 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 1-year-old male lambs. This was the offering brought by Nahshon, son of Amminadab. Do you ever see that article where someone calculated the amount of blood in pints that was spilt in the Old Testament? And then it's literally just 1 drop of Jesus just does it all. It was like 7 or 8 fully length swimming pools filled with blood. On the second day, Nethanel, son of Zuar, leader of the tribe of Issachar, presented his offering. His offering consisted of a silver platter weighing 3¼ pounds and a silver basin weighing 1¾ pounds, as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. These were both filled with grain offerings of choice flour moistened with olive oil. He also bought a gold container weighing 4 ounces, which was filled with incense. He bought a young bull, a ram, and a 1-year-old male lamb for a burnt offering, and a male goat for a sin offering. For a peace offering, he brought 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 1-year-old male lambs. This was the offering brought by Nethanel, son of Zuar. On the third day, Eliab, son of Helon, leader of the tribe of Zebulun, presented his offering. His offering consisted of a silver platter weighing 3¼ pounds and a silver basin weighing 1¾ pounds, as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. These were both filled with grain offerings of choice flour moistened with olive oil. He also bought a gold container weighing 4 ounces, which was filled with incense. He bought a young bull, a ram, a 1-year-old male lamb for a burnt offering, and a male goat for a sin offering. For a peace offering, he bought 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 1-year-old male lambs. This was the offering brought by Eliab, son of Helon. On the fourth day, Elizur, son of Shedeur, leader of the tribe of Reuben, presented his offering. His offering consisted of a silver platter weighing 3¼ pounds and a silver basin weighing 1¾ pounds, as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. These were both filled with grain offerings of choice flour moistened with olive oil. He also bought a gold container weighing 4 ounces, which was filled with incense. He bought a young bull, a ram, and a 1-year-old male lamb for a burnt offering, and a male goat for a sin offering. For a peace offering, he bought 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 1-year-old male lambs. This was the offering brought by Elizur, son of Shedeur. On the 5th day, Shelumiel, son of Zurishaddai, leader of the tribe of Simeon, presented his offering. Everybody. His offering consisted of a silver platter weighing 3¼ pounds and a silver basin weighing 1¾ pounds, as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. These were both filled with grain offerings of choice flour moistened with olive oil. He also bought a gold container weighing 4 ounces, which was filled with incense. He bought a young bull, a ram, a 1-year-old male lamb for burnt offering, a male goat for sin offering. For a peace offering, he bought 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 1-year-old male lambs. This was the offering brought by Shelumiel, son of Zurishaddai. On the sixth day, Eliasaph, son of Deuel, leader of the tribe of Gad, presented his offering. His offering consisted of a silver platter weighing 3¼ pounds of silver and a basin weighing 1¾ pounds as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. These were both filled with grain offerings, choice flour moistened with olive oil. He also brought a gold container weighing 4 ounces, which was filled with incense. He brought a young bull, a ram, a 1-year-old male lamb for a burnt offering, and a male goat for a sin offering. For peace offering, he brought 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 1-year-old male lambs. This was the offering brought by Eliasaph, son of Deuel. On the 7th day, Elishama, son of Ammihud, leader of the tribe of Ephraim, presented his offering. His offering consisted of a silver platter weighing 3¼ pounds and a silver basin weighing 1¾ pounds as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. These were both filled with grain offerings, choice flour moistened with olive oil. He also brought a gold container weighing 4 ounces, which was filled with incense. He brought a young bull, a ram, a 1-year-old male lamb for a burnt offering, and a male goat for a sin offering. For a peace offering, he bought 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 1-year-old male lambs. This was the offering brought by Elishama, son of Ammihud. On the 8th day, Gamaliel, son of Pedazur, leader of the tribe of Manasseh, presented his offering. His offering consisted of a silver platter weighing 3¼ pounds, a silver basin weighing 1¾ pounds as measured by the sanctuary shekel. These were both filled with grain offerings and choice flour moistened with olive oil. He also brought a gold container weighing 4 ounces, which filled with incense. He brought a young bull, a ram, and 1 male lamb for a burnt offering, and a male goat for a sin offering. For a peace offering, he brought 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 1-year-old male lambs. This was the offering from Gamaliel, son of Pedazur. On the 9th day, Abidan, son of Gideoni, leader of the tribe of Benjamin, presented his offering. His offering consisted of a silver platter weighing 3¼ pounds and a silver basin weighing 1¾ pounds as measured by the sanctuary shekel. These were both filled with grain offerings, choice flour moistened with olive oil. He also brought a gold container weighing 4 ounces, which was filled with incense. He brought a young bull, a ram, and 1-year-old male lamb for a burnt offering, a male goat for a sin offering. For a peace offering, he brought 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 1 5-year-old male lambs, 5 1-year-old male lambs. This was the offering brought by Abidan, son of Gideoni. On the 10th day, Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai, leader of the tribe of Dan, presented his offering. His offering consisted of a silver platter weighing 3¼ pounds and a silver basin weighing 1¾ pounds as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. These were both filled with grain offerings of choice flour moistened with olive oil. He also bought a gold container weighing 4 ounces, which was filled with incense. He bought a young bull, a ram, and a 1-year-old male lamb for burnt offering, and a male goat for sin offering. For peace offering, he bought 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and a 5-1-year-old male lambs. This was the offering brought by Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai. On the 11th day, Pagiel, son of Ochran, leader of the tribe of Asher, presented his offering. His offering consisted of a silver platter weighing 3¼ pounds and a silver basin weighing 1¾ pounds as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. These were both filled with grain offerings, choice flour moistened with olive oil. He also bought a gold container weighing 4 ounces, which was filled with incense. He bought a young bull, a ram, and a 1-year-old male lamb for a burnt offering, and a male goat for a sin offering. For a peace offering, he bought 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and a 5-year-old male lambs, and a 5 1-year-old male lambs. With the offering brought by Pagiel, was the offering brought by Pagiel, son of Ochri. On the 12th day, Ahira, son of Enan, leader of the tribe of Naphtali, presented his offering. His offering consisted of a silver basin, a silver platter, weighing 3¼ pounds and a silver basin weighing 1¾ pounds as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. These were both filled with grain offerings and choice flour of moistened olive oil. And a partridge in a pear tree. That is directly against the Mosaic law, Petit Bois. He also... Chris Williams, is that to get Owen back for the false accusations of the tribes map? I'll let the Park End admin clear that one up. These were both filled with grain offerings, choice flour moistened with olive oil. He also bought a gold container weighing 4 ounces, which was filled with incense. He bought a young bull, a ram, and a 1-year-old male lamb for a burnt offering, and a male goat for a sin offering. For a peace offering, he bought 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 1-year-old male lambs. This was the offering brought by Ahira, son of Enan. So this was the dedication offering brought by the leaders of Israel at the time the altar was anointed. 12 silver platters, 12 silver basins, 12 gold incense containers. Each platter weighed 3¼ pounds, and each silver basin weighed 1¾ pounds. The total weight of the silver was 60 pounds, as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. Each of the 12 gold containers that was filled with incense weighed 4 ounces, as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. Each of the 12 gold containers that was filled with incense weighed 4 ounces, as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. The total weight of gold was 3 pounds. 12 young bulls, 12 rams, and 12 1-year-old male lambs were donated for the burnt offerings, along with their prescribed grain offerings. 12 male goats were brought in for the sin offerings. 24 bulls, 60 rams, 60 male goats, and 60 1-year-old male lambs were donated for the peace offerings. This was the dedication offering for the altar after it was anointed. Whenever Moses went into the tabernacle to speak to the Lord, he heard the voice speaking to him from between the 2 cherubim above the ark's cover, the place of atonement that rests on the ark of the covenant. The Lord spoke to him from there. Okay, I'm going to take 30 seconds from there. My NLT is the same as Owen's. Why? Has someone got something different? What's happening? Okay, and now we come to Numbers chapter 8, after 90-something verses. Numbers 8, look out for dedicating now the Levites. The tabernacle's done, as we've just seen. That's ready to rock. The Levites, by the way, were teachers, and the teacher's job was to make sure, according to Malachi 2, everybody understood the law. So the Levites were basically sort of Bible teachers of the day. And remember, there was one Levite appointed as head of each family clan, and then the Levite reported to the high priest. So it went, the Lord God, high priest, Levite, firstborn family member, then he reports to the church family. So everybody is in contact with the living God. And that sort of thing comes through now. I'm not sure what's happening, but you're talking about the New Living Translation. I have. I'm lost. The Lord said to Moses, give Aaron the following instructions. When you set up the 7 lamps in the lampstand, place them so that their light shines forward in front of the lampstand. So Aaron did this. He set up the 7 lamps so they reflected their light forward, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Okay, so the entire lampstand, from its base to its decorative blossoms, was made of beaten gold. It was built according to the exact design the Lord had shown Moses. The Levites dedicated. Verse 5. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Now set the Levites apart from the rest of the people of Israel and make them ceremonially clean. Do this by sprinkling them with the water of purification, and have them shave their entire body and wash their clothing. Then they will be ceremonially clean. Have them bring a young bull and a grain offering of choice flour moistened with olive oil, along with a second young bull for a sin offering. Then assemble the whole community of Israel and present the Levites at the entrance of the tabernacle. When you present the Levites before the Lord, the people of Israel must lay their hands on them. Raising his hands, Aaron must then present the Levites to the Lord as a special offering from the people of Israel, thus dedicating them to the Lord's service. Next, the Levites will lay their hands on the heads of the young bulls, present one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering to the Lord, to purify the Levites and make them right with the Lord. Then have the Levites stand in front of Aaron and his sons and raise your hands and present them as a special offering to the Lord. Could the Parkin admin cut and paste Malachi chapter 2 verse 7, please? Then have the Levites stand in front of Aaron and his sons and raise your hands and present them as a special offering to the Lord. Verse 14. In this way, you will set the Levites apart from the rest of the people of Israel, and the Levites will belong to me. After this, they may go into the tabernacle to do their work, because you have purified them and presented them as a special offering. Of all the people of Israel, the Levites are reserved for me. Malachi 2:7, the words of a priest's lips should preserve knowledge of God, and people should go to him for instruction, for the priest is the messenger of the Lord of heaven's armies. Yeah. Verse 16, of all the people of Israel, the Levites are reserved for me. I have claimed them for myself in the place of all the firstborn sons of Israel. I have taken the Levites as their substitutes. For all the firstborn males among the people of Israel are mine, both of people and of animals. I set them apart for myself on the day I struck down all the firstborn sons of the Egyptians. Yes, I have claimed the Levites in place of all the firstborn sons of Israel, and of all the Israelites. I have assigned the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They will serve in the tabernacle on behalf of the Israelites and make sacrifices to purify the people, so no plague will strike them when they approach the sanctuary. So Moses, Aaron, and the whole community of Israel dedicated the Levites, carefully following all the Lord's instructions to Moses. The Levites purified themselves from the sin and washed their clothes, and Aaron lifted them up and presented them to the Lord as a special offering. And then he offered a sacrifice to purify them and make them right with the Lord. Aren't modern day pastoral inductions to churches rubbish compared to this? And then he offered a sacrifice to purify them and make them right with the Lord. Verse 22. After that, the Levites went into the tabernacle to perform their duties, assisting Aaron and his sons. So they carried out all the commands that the Lord gave Moses concerning the Levites. The Lord also instructed Moses, this is the rule the Levites must follow. They must begin serving in the tabernacle at the age of 25, and they must retire at the age of 50. Now remember that for this next bit. After retirement, they may assist their fellow Levites by serving as guards at the tabernacle, but they may not officiate in the service. This is how you must assign duties to the Levites. Retired people still have roles in the life of the church. In your church, are elderly people looked after, learned from, and appreciated? Or are you obsessed with reaching young people? We are at the halfway point. Feel free to take 30 seconds, get a drink, a top up. What's really interesting about the next chunk is it goes back to the Passover, which actually preceded the events we've just read. But they wanted in Numbers to make sure church was in order first. I love the diagram of all tribes. Who were the enemies which surrounded them, and what effect did they have? Well, Diane, if you stay tuned into the Bible Hour, we're going to read a lot of somethingites, but we'll bundle them all in as Canaanites for now. People of the land, pagans, nasties, but they're going to come. And if you remember the Amalekites in Exodus, when the church was on the move, they picked off the young and frail at the back. And in a bit, in the next chapter, we're going to see why the tribe of Dan was stuck at the back, actually, to protect the people. Yeah, New Living Translation I'm reading. Dynamic equivalent. This is not the most accurate, but I'm trying my best to sort of tweak it when I know it's gone a bit loopy. But it is nice. It's a nice read. It's comfortable. Anyway, the church now is in order, so now they're going to do Passover talk because, as we said yesterday, salvation is for the whole church. Numbers chapter 9, the second Passover. A year after Israel's departure from Egypt, the Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai. In the first month of that year, he said, "Tell the Israelites to celebrate the Passover at the prescribed time, at twilight on the 14th day of the first month. Be sure to follow all my decrees and regulations concerning this celebration." So Moses told the people to celebrate the Passover in the wilderness of Sinai as twilight fell on the 14th day of the month. And they celebrated the festival there, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. But some of the men had been ceremonially defiled by touching a dead body, so they could not celebrate the Passover that day. They came to Moses and Aaron that day and said, "We have become ceremonially unclean by touching a dead body. But why should we be prevented from presenting the Lord's offering at the proper time with the rest of the Israelites?" Moses answered, "Wait here until I have received instructions for you from the Lord." This was the Lord's reply to Moses. "Give the following instructions to the people of Israel. If any of the people now or in future generations are ceremonially unclean at Passover time because of touching a dead body, or if they are on a journey and cannot be present at the ceremony, they may still celebrate the Lord's Passover. They must offer the Passover sacrifice 1 month later at twilight on the 14th day of the second month. They must eat Passover lamb, and at that time with the bitter salad greens and bread made without yeast. They must not leave any of the lamb until the next morning, and they must not break any of its bones. Like our Lord, they went to break his bones, but he was already dead. Because you don't break the bones of the Passover lamb. They must follow all the normal regulations concerning the Passover. But those who neglect to celebrate the Passover at a regular time, even though they are ceremonially clean and not away on a trip, they will be cut off from the community of Israel. Yeah. If they fail to present the Lord's offering at the proper time, they will suffer the consequences of their guilt. And if foreigners living among you want to celebrate the Passover to the Lord, they must follow these same decrees and regulations. The same laws apply to both native-born Israelites and to the foreigners living among you. For those of you who do want an actual book in your hand of the New Living Translation, I think Amazon are pretty much back to second-day deliveries, and in 2 days we will be 1/3 of the way through. So you'll have a lot of time to make use of it. New Living. The fiery cloud. On the day the tabernacle was set up, the cloud covered it. But from evening until morning, the cloud over the tabernacle looked like a pillar of fire. This was the regular pattern. At night, the cloud that covered the tabernacle had the appearance of fire. Whenever the cloud lifted from over the sacred tent, the people of Israel would break camp and follow it. And wherever the cloud settled, the people of Israel would set up camp. In this way, they traveled and camped at the Lord's command wherever he told them to go. Then they remained at their camp as long as the cloud stayed over the tabernacle. If the cloud remained over the tabernacle for a long time, the Israelites stayed and performed their duties for the Lord. Sometimes the cloud would stay over the tabernacle for only a few days, so the people would stay for only a few days, and as the Lord commanded. Then at the Lord's command, they would break camp and move on. I think some texts here would call this the Shekinah cloud. That's what this is. Sometimes the cloud stayed only overnight and lifted the next morning. But day or night, when the cloud lifted, the people broke camp and moved on. Whenever the cloud stayed over the tabernacle for 2 days, a month, or a year, the people of Israel stayed in camp and did not move on. But as soon as it lifted, they broke camp and moved on. So they camped or traveled at the Lord's command. And they did whatever the Lord told them through Moses. It's an important thing for church, isn't it, to do and move according to the Lord's pace, and not everybody coming up with their own ideas for what makes church amazing, but actually seeking the Lord, what he wants to do with church life. At the moment, it seems he wants church life to retreat out of buildings again. Oh, and Sue Roberts got a great picture from C.S. Lewis, sort of speculating why the Lord might want us out of buildings for a while and back in homes. It's worth getting in touch with her. Numbers chapter 10, the silver trumpets. So this one now until mid-chapter 11. Oh no, this is until verse 10. Crack on till verse 10. Now the Lord said to Moses, make 2 trumpets of hammered silver for calling the community of Israel and for signaling the breaking of camp. When both trumpets are blown, everyone must gather before you at the entrance of the tabernacle. But if only one trumpet is blown, then only the leaders, the heads of the clans of Israel, must present themselves to you. When you sound the signal to move on, the tribes camped at the east side of the tabernacle must break camp and move forward. When you sound the signal a second time, the tribes camped on the south will follow. You must sound short blasts as the signal for moving on. But when you call the people to an assembly, blow the trumpets with a different signal. Only the priests, Aaron's sons' descendants, are allowed to blow the trumpets. This is a permanent law for you, to be observed from generation to generation. When you arrive in your own land and go to war against your enemies who attack you, sound the alarm with the trumpets. Then the Lord your God will remember you and rescue you from your enemies. Blow the trumpets in times of gladness, too, sounding them at your annual festivals and at the beginning of each month. And blow the trumpets over your burnt offerings and peace offerings. The trumpets will remind your God of his covenant with you. I am the Lord your God. Now, for the last third, it gets really cool. Basically, the ancient church goes for now a little walk around, trial run. And notice how the weak tribes are protected. And the Midianites, right? Sometimes they're on the church side, sometimes they're not. And so Hobab, who's going to show up, he's a Midianite. It's like he's got divided commitments. And also check practical steps that the church has to make. Even though they've got the Lord there with him, you still have to make common sense decisions. Verse 11. The second year after Israel's departure from Egypt, on the 12th day of the second month, the cloud lifted from the tabernacle of the covenant. So the Israelites set out from the wilderness of Sinai and traveled on from place to place until the cloud stopped in the wilderness of Paran. When the people set out for the first time, following the instructions the Lord had given through Moses, Judah's troops led the way. They marched behind their banner, and their leader was Nahshon, son of Amminadab. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Issachar, led by Nethanel, son of Zuar, and the troops of the tribe of Zebulun, led by Eliab, son of Helon. Then the tabernacle was taken down, and the Gershonite and Merarite divisions of the Levites were next in the line of march, carrying the tabernacle with them. Reuben's troops was next, marching behind their banner. Their leader was Eleazar, son of Shedeur. We're dealing with about 2 million people here. This is quite the scene. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Simeon, led by Shelumiel, son of Zurishaddai, and the troops of the tribe of Gad, led by Eliasaph, son of Deuel. Next came the Kohathite division of the Levites, carrying the sacred objects from the tabernacle. Before they arrived at the next camp, the tabernacle would already be set up at its new location. Ephraim's troops went next, marching behind their banner. Their leader was Elishama, son of Ammihud. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Manasseh, led by Gamaliel, son of Pedazur, and the troops of the tribe of Benjamin, led by Abidan, son of Gideoni. Dan's troops went last, marching behind their banner as serving as the rear guard for all the tribal camps. Their leader was Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai. So they're protecting the weak. Do our churches protect weak and vulnerable people? Have we got the tribe of Dan defending the back? I think I said Gad earlier. Dan. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Asher, led by Pegiel, son of Ochran, and the troop of the tribe of Naphtali, led by Ahira, son of Enan. This was the order in which the Israelites marched, division by division. One day, Moses said to his brother-in-law, Hobab, son of Reuel the Midianite, so this is Moses' brother-in-law, we are on our way to the place the Lord promised us, for he said, I will give it to you. Come with us. And he said, I will give it to you. And he said, come with us, and we will treat you well, for the Lord has promised wonderful blessings for Israel. But Hobab replied, no, I will not go. I must return to my own land and family. Oh, please don't leave us, Moses pleaded. You know the places in the wilderness where we should camp. Come, be our guide. If you do, we'll share with you all the blessings that the Lord gives us. They marched for 3 days after leaving the mountain of the Lord with the ark of the covenant of the Lord's, with the ark of the Lord's covenant moving ahead of them to show where they were to stop and rest. As they moved on each day, the cloud of the Lord hovered over them. And whenever the ark set out, Moses would shout, "Arise, O Lord, and let your enemies be scattered. Let them flee before you." And when the ark was set down, he would say, "Return, O Lord, to the countless thousands of Israel." Check out Psalm 68, which is all about the ascension. Basically, this is the theology of Moses. When the ark of Jesus would be lifted, he'd think, "Ascension theology, my Lord's going up." And then when it came back down, "Oh, he's coming back down." Moses is the theologian of theologian. Arise, Lord. Numbers chapter 11. The people complain to Moses. No, they wouldn't, because they've got Jesus walking there with them. They've got all this ascension stuff. "Rise up, O God, and scatter your enemies. Let those who hate God run for their lives. Blow them away like smoke. Melt them like wax and fire. Let the wicked perish in the presence of God." Rise up. Ascension theology, not a New Testament thing. Do read Psalm 68 later or tomorrow or something. Now, Philippians chapter 4. "I have learned," says Paul, "in all things to be content. Highs and lows. Prosper or to be abased." This is what the ancient church is going to be challenged with now. Verse 1. "Soon the people began to complain about their hardship, and the Lord heard everything they said. Then the Lord's anger blazed against them, and he set a fire to rage among them, and he destroyed some of the people in the outskirts of the camp. Then the people screamed to Moses for help, and when he prayed to the Lord, the fire stopped. After that, the area was known as Taberah, which means the place of burning, because fire from the Lord had burned among them there. Then the foreign rabble who were traveling with the Israelites began to crave the good things of Egypt. And the people of Israel also began to complain. 'Oh, for some meat,' they exclaimed." Bearing in mind now, they got the Lord God with them, who will provide their every need. But he's testing them. They're failing here. "We remember the fish that we used to eat for free in Egypt." Do you remember, though, what it was like in Egypt when we read it in Exodus? This is crackers talk. "And we had all the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic that we wanted." I think Paul Blackham, in one of his books or his sermons, says they chose melons over the Messiah, garlic over God, and cucumbers over Christ. But now our appetites are gone. All we ever see is this manna. The manna looked like small coriander seeds, and it was pale yellow, like gum resin. The people would go out and gather it from the ground. They made flour by grinding it with hand mills or powdering it in mortars, pounding it. Then they boiled it in a pot and made it into flat cakes. These cakes tasted like pastries baked with olive oil. The manna came down on the camp with the dew during the night. By the way, you know the Ministry of Apologetics, where we always argue for reasons for God and evidence and science and philosophy. There is a place for it, but I don't think it wins hearts. I do think the thing that wins ultimately hearts is preaching Jesus, because he warms hearts. And if there was ever evidence that the living God was alive, it was then. They opened their tents every morning and there was manna all over the place. Like, if you want evidence that God exists just presented to an atheist, imagine being alive in these tents. Just open your tent door. It's pretty miraculous stuff. There's a massive pillar of fire. I'm pretty sure God exists. But isn't it interesting? Their hearts aren't warmed. They're grumbling and complaining. Because at the end of the day, unbelief is not an intellectual problem or something about evidence or lack of evidence. And there is evidence for God, but unbelief is a heart problem, a stubbornness, a sin, a rebellion, a hatred, as proved here. Verse 10, Moses heard all the family standing in the doorways of their tents, whining, and the Lord became extremely angry. Moses was also very aggravated, and Moses said to the Lord, "Why are you treating me, your servant, so harshly? Have mercy on me. What did I do to deserve the burden of all these people? Did I give birth to them? Did I bring them into the world? Why did you tell me to carry them in my arms like a mother carries a nursing baby? How can I carry them to the land you swore to give their ancestors? Where am I supposed to get meat for all these people? They keep whining to me, saying, 'Give us meat to eat.' I can't carry all these people by myself. The load is far too heavy. If this is how you intend to treat me, just go ahead and kill me. Do me a favor and spare me this misery." That is a classic point in the life of Moses, which gets referred to in Deuteronomy 1 and 5 and in parts of the Psalms and in Hebrews. That pastoral problem. Moses chooses 70 leaders. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Gather before me 70 men who are recognized as elders and leaders of Israel. Bring them to the tabernacle to stand there with you. I will come down and talk to you there. I will take some of the Spirit that is upon you, and I will put the Spirit upon them also. They will bear the burden of the people along with you, so you will not have to carry it alone." Just on the apologetics thing, lastly, have you ever had a conversation with a non-Christian? You've literally dismantled all of their arguments and they still just outright hate you. Yeah, it's a problem of the heart, not the head. And say to the people, "Purify yourselves, for tomorrow you will have meat to eat." You were whining, and then the Lord heard you, cried, "Oh, for some meat. We were better off in Egypt." Now the Lord will give you meat, and you will have to eat it. Sue Roberts, capital letters, yes. Yes. At the end of the day, we will not have this man rule over us. That's the problem with unbelief. They don't want to bow the knee to Jesus, so a lot of our evidence is just hit the roof. Verse 19. And it won't be for just a day or two, or for 5 or 10 or even 20. You will eat it for a whole month until you gag and are sick of it. For you have rejected the Lord, who is here among you, and you have whined to him, saying, "Why did we ever leave Egypt?" But Moses responded to the Lord, "There are 600,000 foot soldiers here with me, and yet you say I will give them meat for a whole month? Even if we butchered all our flocks and herds, would that satisfy them? Even if we caught all the fish in the sea, would that be enough?" Then the Lord said to Moses, "Has my arm lost its power? Now you will see whether or not my word comes true." So Moses went out and reported the Lord's words to the people. He gathered the 70 elders and stationed them around the tabernacle, probably the same 70 that went up the mountain in Exodus 19. And the Lord came down in the cloud and spoke to Moses. Then he gave the 70 elders the same spirit that was upon Moses. And when the spirit rested upon them, they prophesied. But this never happened again. 2 men, Eldad and Medad, had stayed behind in the camp. They were listed among the elders, but they had not gone out to the tabernacle. Yet the Spirit rested upon them as well. So they prophesied there in the camp. A young man ran and reported to Moses, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. Joshua, son of Nun, who had been Moses' assistant since his youth, protested, Moses, my master, make them stop. Classic text for apprentices in church life. Moses reappears again. No, Joshua does. He's been Moses' apprentice. He's also been up the mountain and stayed in the tent with Jesus when Moses left. So he's been in the presence of the God and he's been well trained by a church leader. That makes for a good apprentice. And not a Bible college in sight. But Moses replied, are you jealous for my sake? I wish that all the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord would put his spirit upon them all. Then Moses returned to the camp with the elders of Israel. Now the Lord sent a wind that brought quail from the sea and let them fall all around the camp. For miles in every direction, there was quail flying about 3 feet above the ground. So the people went out and caught quail all day and throughout the night, and all the next day too. No one gathered less than 50 bushels. They spread the quail all around the camp to dry. But while they were gorging themselves on the meat, while it was still in their mouths, the anger of the Lord blazed against the people, and he struck them with a severe plague. So that place was called Kibroth Hadathah, which means graves of gluttony. Exodus 24, obviously 19. I'm such a dunce. Yeah, 70 went up literally to have breakfast with Jesus in Exodus 24. I can't believe I said 17. I'm so gutted about that. Can you just paste in the New King or in the King James what verse 34 is? It's not graves of gluttony. I'm sure it's something of cravings, because there they buried the people who had craved meat from Egypt. From Kibroth Hattaavah, the Israelites traveled to Hazeroth, where they stayed for some time. We have 1 minute left. I think we'll probably stop there then. Numbers chapter 12. I'm so disappointed. I thought that was Numbers 19. You have no idea how much sleep I'm going to lose over not knowing the difference between Exodus 19 and 20. 4. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. We have 1 minute left, chat. I don't want to start the new chapter. Yeah, oh bless, I'm a failure, Sue. I should be sacked. To TBTG, thanks be to God. Someone mentioned about Shiloh. We're not going to see Shiloh until Joshua, I don't think. In KJV, I can't see any reference to graves of gluttony. No. What does verse 34? 34? Yeah, what does verse 34 say in KJV? What I would like to do is, one day I would like to redo all of the Bible Hour again, if you lot are up for it. Obviously, we'll have a bit of a break. But I would like to read from the Septuagint Old Testament, people that lusted, rather than the Masoretic, the Hebrew Old Testament, the Masoretes. Yeah, the New Living Translations based on the Masoretic text. And because there are some really interesting differences with the Septuagint, which was the Greek Old Testament, which was the one that Jesus used, but we're reading English translations from the Hebrew. And so next time we'll jump in at the Greek. And he called the name of the place Kibroth Hattaavah because they buried the people that lusted. All right. Okay. If I was a betting man, the direct translation of Kibroth Hattaavah is more to do with craving than gluttony. All right, folks. Tomorrow we jump in at Numbers 12, which is a belter. Are you racist? If you are, drop in tomorrow and see if there's a place for racism in the ancient church of God. Until then, God bless you.